to week 11 of Sarah's singing dog vlog. Really sorry there's been a 2-week gap. I've just not been well, so all sorted now, and yeah, we'll just pretend that 2 weeks never happened and start again. So today I'm going to be talking all about hyperactivity. So if you've got a dog or a puppy that just will not sit still and they're doing your head in, then this is the one to watch. But before then, I am going to sing a song as usual. Today I'm doing Changing My Major from Fun Home. Fun Home is quite a unique musical. It's based on a true story. If you've not seen it, well, you probably haven't. It's came out on Broadway a couple of years ago, won a load of Tonys, but it hasn't been in the UK yet. So hopefully, I think it's coming over soon actually. So if you get a chance to see it, please do. But this is a great song. It's a little bit weird out of context, but it should work. It's fairly relatable. I just need you to imagine there's a bed here with, it's meant to be set at a university dorm, so there's a bed with a sleeping girl there, basically. And everything else should be fairly self-explanatory. Please bear with me with the timing. This is so hard to do with a backing track. It's not meant to be done with a backing track, obviously. It's really tricky. I'm just going to plough on no matter what happens. So if the timing goes off a little bit, which it actually will, then I'm sorry, but yeah, there's not a lot I can do. It's really hard. What happened last night? Are you really here? Joan, 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 Joan. Hi, Joan. Don't wake up, Joan. Oh my God, last night. Oh my God, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God, last night. I got so excited. I was too enthusiastic. Thank you for not laughing. Well, you laughed a little bit at one time when I was touching you and said I might lose consciousness, which you said was adorable, and I just have to trust that you don't think I'm an idiot or some kind of an animal. I never lost control due to overwhelming lust, but I must say that I'm changing my major to Joan. I'm changing my major to sex with Joan. I'm changing my major to sex with Joan, with a minor in kissing Joan. Foreign study to Joan's inner thighs, a seminar on Joan's ass in her Levi's, and Joan's crazy brown eyes. Joan, I feel like Hercules. Oh God, that sounds ridiculous. Just keep on sleeping through this, and I'll work on calming down, so by the time you've woken up, I'll be cool, I'll be collected, and I'll have found some dignity. But who needs dignity? Because this is so much better. I'm radiating happiness. Will you stay here with me for the rest of the semester? We won't need any food. We'll live on sex alone. Sex with Joan. I am writing a thesis on Joan. It's a cutting-edge field and my mind is blown. I would gladly stay up every night to hone my compulsory skills with Joan. I will study my way down her spine, familiarize myself with her well-made outline, while she researches mine. I don't know who I am. I've become someone new. Nothing I just did is anything I would do. Overnight everything changed. I'm not prepared. Dizzy, I'm nauseous, I'm shaking. I'm scared. Am I falling into nothingness or flying into something so sublime? I don't know. But I'm changing my major to Joan. I thought all my life I'd be all alone, but that was before I was lying let's never leave this room. How about we stay here till finals? I'll go to school forever. I'll take out a dementedly huge high interest loan. 'Cause I'm changing my major to John. Okay, yes, timing went completely wrong at the end, but never mind. It's a lovely song. Listen to it properly. It's on YouTube. You can find it. Fun Home, Changing My Major, and the young girl that does it in the show is just absolutely phenomenal. So please do have a look at that, because my version was nowhere near as good. Right. Okay. Hyperactive dogs. Right. Now, the main reason that dogs are hyperactive is actually because you have inadvertently conditioned them to be hyperactive. So, obviously there are a few basic things that you can do that are just sensible to stop hyperactivity in dogs. So, obviously, making sure they're getting walked enough. So, you know, there's some basic things that should be fairly straightforward. 2 decent walks a day. For adult dogs, you want to be doing a bare minimum of 2 45-minute walks every day. Puppies, obviously, you have to build up for that. But do make sure they're getting the right exercise for the breed, for the age, etc. Also food, we've talked about that before. Make sure they're not eating dodgy food with loads of sugars and loads of dodgy chemicals and loads of dodgy protein sources that can cause toxins and can cause massive hyperactivity issues. So yeah, exercise, food, very important. But like I was saying, the main reason that most dogs that are hyperactive is because they're actually getting more attention for being hyperactive than they are for being calm. So, for example, if you have got a puppy that is constantly running around, bringing you toys, coming up, jumping up at you, and every time they do these behaviours, you are reacting to it. So, for example, every time your puppy brings a toy, you go, oh, bless you, brought me a toy, and you throw it for them, yeah? And then that just goes on forever. Or they come and jump on you and you think, oh God, they're bored, I must play with them, I must give them some attention, so you do. Or they come and jump on you and you go, come on, stop it now, get off, calm down. All of those things are rewarding the dog's hyperactivity. So if your dog is hyperactive and you're paying them any attention whatsoever, that will be seen by the dog as a reward for that behaviour, and therefore they will continue to do that behaviour. Okay, which means you're just perpetually reinforcing the constant hyperactivity. Now, I'm not saying never play with your dog. Of course, play with your dog, but you have to play with your dog on your terms, not their terms. You can't throw that toy for them every time they bring it to you. In fact, you shouldn't throw a toy for them any time they bring it to you unless you have asked them to bring it to you. So if you're playing a game of fetch and you're asking your dog to retrieve, brilliant. Yes, of course, throw it again if you want to. But if your dog has just gone and picked up a ball or a toy from the other side of the room and come and brought it to you and you weren't interested in playing, you were busy doing something else, you don't have to throw it. And in fact, you shouldn't throw it in that situation at all. Same as if your dog just comes and paws at you and nudges and pay me attention, pay me attention. No, absolutely not. They're just demanding, and if you give in to that demand, A, well, they're in charge of you instead of the other way around, and B, you're just perpetuating the hyperactive behaviour. The other thing that people do wrong, so you might think, okay, that's not me, I don't give in to my dog, I don't pander to their every whim, but my dog's still hyperactive. That may be because you're doing the other thing, going the other way, and telling them off. Will you stop it? Go and lie down, get on your bed. These are classic things. The get on your bed thing is an absolute classic that I see all the time with people with hyper dogs, because what will happen is they'll train the dog to go to the bed, so the dog will be hyper and being annoying, and they'll send it to a bed and it'll go. It'll go for about 30 seconds and then it'll get up again, and then the whole process will repeat. So what you end up with is a dog that's perpetually being sent to its bed. The owner thinks it's working because the dog does actually go to the bed, but the problem with that is that you're just constantly having to keep sending the dog to the bed. So it's not actually working to calm the dog down. The dog is just demanding attention and getting attention because you send it back to its bed. That's still attention. You might perceive that as negative, but the dog certainly doesn't perceive it as negative. Okay, so you can't tell them off for being hyperactive either. You can't play with them when they demand it. You can't give them attention and fuss when they demand it. You can't talk to them constantly, please don't do that. Come on now, calm down. All of that is just reward. Every time you talk to your dog, every time you make eye contact, unless you are doing something incredibly negative, they will see it all as positive. Okay, I recently had a lady on the phone who was saying that their puppy, who might be watching this, was chewing their feet. This is so common. You're walking around, and especially in the summer with flip-flops and bare feet, puppies will just grab. They think it's hilarious because the reason they think it's fun is because it generally gets a big reaction. Feet are very sensitive. Okay, so where if they just grabbed your trousers, you might not mind too much. They actually grab your feet. Our feet are incredibly sensitive, and it will hurt, or it will at least tickle if they're not doing it hard, and we will jump and squeal normally. We may have a reaction. That reaction to the dog is a reward. So even if you go, get off, stop it, that's still fun. The dog doesn't speak English. It doesn't know you're saying get off, stop it. The dog just hears noise directed at them. That's attention, that's positive. They will keep going for your feet whilst ever you do that. All right, because as far as they're concerned, you've just said good dog. You've really got to realise that dogs don't understand the words that are coming out of your mouth, and stop it, get off is exactly the same as good dog, carry on. It's just random noise directed at them, which means they're getting attention. Brilliant, I'll do that behaviour again next time and get that attention again. Okay, so you're there thinking, well, Jesus, I can't tell them off. I can't throw them a toy to keep them quiet. So what can I do? Okay, this sounds really, really simple, and it is. You just ignore them. Okay, but you completely ignore them. And by ignore them, I mean you can't say no, you can't make eye contact, push them, you can't do anything. All right, if they're on your feet, you stand still. You make sure you don't have flip-flops on. You make sure you don't have bare feet. Not with a puppy. It's just daft. I know it's annoying in the summer. You might be desperate to have bare feet and flip-flops, but if you've got a small puppy, just don't do it. Have some slippers on in the house or sturdy shoes, something where if they do grab your feet, it's not going to hurt, because we need you to not react and jump and squeal. Okay, you need to be able to stand still and just completely ignore the dog. No eye contact, don't speak at all, don't say a word, don't react, don't move your feet, just act bored. And that actually is what you need to do for all hyperactive dog behaviour. Just make sure the feeding and the exercise is right, and the mental stimulation, obviously brain work, make sure they are getting played with, they are getting trained, but primarily when they're being hyperactive and they're being annoying and they're running around and they're bringing you stuff and they won't sit still, just ignore them. I know that sounds hard, and I know it sounds ridiculously overly simple, but it actually works. You might need to keep it up for a long time. The reason that people think that it doesn't work is I go, oh, I tried ignoring it, it didn't work. And I say, well, how long did you ignore the dog for? And they go, oh, at least 5-10 minutes. Quite often that is nowhere near long enough. I've been in houses where I ignored the dog for about 2 hours before they've calmed down. If this is a real deep set issue, you will need to ignore them for a very long time, because they will chuck everything at you to get attention. They will bring you things, they will do naughty things, they will start eating stuff and chewing stuff and doing all the things that would normally get them attention, and you have to ignore all of it. Obviously, if they pick up something they're not meant to have, you can calmly take it off them, but you do all these things calmly and in a very boring way. You don't go, oh, you've got my shoe, because then you've just ruined everything. You would just calmly, without making eye contact, take the shoe off them, put it away. No speaking, no nothing. Again, we're still ignoring. We're dealing with it, but we're still ignoring. Okay? So that is my top tip. Now, obviously, well, not obviously, occasionally you will get some dogs that you could ignore for 10 hours and it still doesn't seem to be working, especially if it is a very big dog that's just all over you, and it's really hard to ignore that. I get that. I see these sorts of dogs all the time. It's very, very hard if you've got a big, heavy dog that is, for example, pawing at you, or I've had them jumping up, eating my hair. That really is hard to ignore. And I appreciate that. So if it just can't be ignored, it's either driving you insane, it's been going on for 2 hours, you just can't handle it, or it's a big dog and it's just hurting, it's not feasible to ignore it, then you put a lead on. Now, this is one of those weird things that people never think of. We use our leads outside for control, but most people, it doesn't occur to them to put a lead on inside the house. But it's absolutely fine to do that. All right? If your dog just won't calm down, rather than putting them in their crate, which I absolutely don't want you to do, because they won't learn anything from that. You cannot do time out with dogs. All right, you can't do naughty 40 steps and go in your room, go in your crate and think about what you're doing. That's absolute nonsense, okay? So instead, put a lead on. Don't use it to restrain, so don't keep it tight. You're just going to have a slack lead, but if they start trying to do anything nuts, little jerk, back to slack. Put the bed down next to your sofa where you're sitting. If you're trying to watch the telly or you're trying to talk on the phone and the dog's playing you up, put their bed next to you, lead them on it with their lead, and if they try to get off it, just bring them back calmly with the lead every time. They will soon get the message that this is where you want them to stay, and that actually they're not going to be allowed to do anything but stay there, and they will relax much, much quicker, okay? So your lead can be your best friend in these situations. However, that is only if you absolutely have to. You do have to be careful, especially with some very clever dogs will pick up on the idea. Excuse me, that's my phone. Should have put that on silent, really, shouldn't I? I'm not very good at this YouTube thing. I haven't really got the hang of the technology, as you all know. Right, sorry about that. So what we're talking about, yes, the leads. Don't use the leads unless you have to. Some clever dogs will deliberately start doing hyper behaviour to get the attention of having the lead put on if you're not careful, okay? Especially if you put the lead on in a very attention-giving way. So, come on, darling, come on, let's have your lead now, sit, don't. Right? Is that this stuff sounds really obvious, I know, but lots of people inadvertently chat away to their dogs, all right, without even realizing that you're doing it. So just be aware. You need to be very conscious all the time with dogs about your behavior towards them, because it will affect their behavior towards you massively. And I think one of the problems is we're not very aware, and that's something you need to get a handle on, is being very aware of things like that. So if you're meant to be ignoring, you can't have this little conversation. If you need to put the lead on because it's all getting too much, you put it on. Again, no eye contact, don't speak. Just calmly take the collar, clip the lead on and sit there and hold it. Little jerks, they're staying on their bed. Don't keep saying bed, don't say a word. I don't want any speaking. Anything you have to do must be done silently with hyper dogs, because the moment you start talking to them, it'll raise everything up again. The other thing, last thing, I know this has been going on a while, so I'm nearly finished. Very last thing. So we're going to ignore, we're going to use a lead if we have to. Last thing, your emotion, your underlying feelings have to be calm. If you're ignoring beautifully, you're using the lead, doing everything I've said, but internally you're going, oh my God, this is doing my head in, then it won't work. All right? You might be doing everything right, but if you're feeling stressed, annoyed, angry, frustrated, if you're feeling tense, the dog will pick up on that, because it can smell your hormones that are being released when you're stressed. It will pick up on that immediately, and it will not calm down if you're not calm. All right? Your dog will feed off the emotions that you're giving out. So even if you're doing everything beautifully, if internally you are stressed out of your head, then the dog will not calm down and settle. So you have to be calm. You have to, if possible, try and think about boring things. Act bored, feel bored by the whole situation. This dog running around, boring the hell out of me. I'm just not interested in it at all. That's a much better emotion to be giving them for that behaviour than, oh, God, you're doing my head in. Okay, so don't give them that. Give them, whew, this is very tedious, isn't it? Really, really calm, really low key, ignore completely, use a lead if you have to. And that, coupled with good exercise, good food, good brain work, will sort out any hyperactive dog. Okay, so I will see you next week, hopefully. No more illness, I'm sick of it. So thank you so much for watching. Please like, share, subscribe, as usual, and thank you very much.